the middle. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Indigo Diamond here with another video. Here to talk about the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14 because it is still going. We are still having episodes every week. But I think we're getting towards the end. We've not got many episodes left, I don't think. I think there's like 16 episodes in total. But before we get into the video today, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and tell me down below. Who is your top 4? Who are you rooting for? Has this week's elimination changed that at all? Personally for me, it hasn't changed my top 4. They are still the same. Lady Camden, Bosco, Angeria and Willow. That's my top 4. We'll see what happens next week. But yeah, they did the elimination a bit differently this time. I think they realised they've been keeping too many girls in the competition for too long. And when it got to the lip sync, there were a bottom 3, and before the lip sync started, they were like, yeah, all you 3 are up for elimination and 2 of you will be going home. That is it. It will be a double elimination, but it's not like the normal one where it's like, well, neither of you did very well, you're going. Before they went into it, they knew 2 of them were going home. So, yeah, bit different to usual. This week's episode, oh boy, voice crack. This week's episode, it was the roast of Ross Mathews. Now, when they said it was going to be a roast, I was like, oh, these queens didn't do very well at Snatch Game. How's a roast going to go? I was trying to mix gonna and going, and that just really did not work as a sentence. Oh my god. To my surprise, though, these queens actually did well. There was no one that fully bombed. Everyone at least had, a couple of funny moments in their set. So that was good. There was no Alyssa Edwards, because like when Alyssa Edwards did the roast, from what I remember, there was like it was awkward the entire time. There wasn't even a joke. So yeah, let's get into it. We'll go again queen by queen as always, and we'll start with Angeria Paris VanMichaels. This side, you numpty. So, the runway theme this week was too much, so tutus. We'll start with Angeria's performance in the challenge. Now, Angeria was safe, and yeah, she did, in my opinion, a safe job. She had some funny moments, but there is something about Angeria where even when a joke didn't land or something, you still kind of found it funny, and she just very quickly kind of moved on, which is the right thing to do. You know, if your joke doesn't land, you just move on to the next one and kind of keep going. So, Angeria very much did a safe job. She wasn't great, but, definitely wasn't worthy of being up for elimination. So, did a really good job. Great week again for Angeria. I mean, she's had more or less a great week every week, but some people just have that gift, don't they? Now, her runway look, I really liked. I thought it worked well for Angeria, and, considering she was the one wearing it, that's all that really matters. I loved her in blonde hair. The dress, it was this, like, green colour, which, this sort of green I don't usually like, but on Angeria, in the style it was, you couldn't tell me that it was something I didn't enjoy. I really liked it. Yeah, just all in all, a great week for Angeria. Up next, we've got the winner of this week's challenge, Bosco. So, Bosco has had a rough couple of weeks. She didn't do well in Snatch Game. Then she had the lip sync, Lollapalooza. And she had to lip sync the most, but she managed to stay. And then last week, she didn't do very well. She ended up in the bottom. She got eliminated, but she had the golden chocolate bar, which meant she got to stay. So she had a lot to prove this week. There was so much she had to prove this week, because it was like, there are so many times where it's been kind of like, you've just not done well consistently in a row. And oh my god, did Bosco deliver. I was laughing from the moment she got on the stage to the moment she left the stage. It was hilarious. It was just so good, and it was just one after the other. There was no, period where she was setting up a joke and she got to one. It was just joke, 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 joke. come to the runway, she did a sort of ballerina, makes sense because you're doing tutu, but she was like, it was like a horror character, you know, she'd been like, had like buzzsaws all over her and everything. It was a really good look. It was nice not to see her in like a bra and panty again. My one gripe with this is, so she had the two buzzsaws around her waist, and then she had like a red sparkly panty underneath. But then, must have been like her cincher. She had like a white cincher going up, and it just had like specks of blood or something like that. I kind of wish there had been more on that. But literally, that was my only problem with it. It was just one of those things where I was like, that's white, the panty's red. I get the panties underneath, so, you know, blood going down, and there were specks of blood from it spurting up. But yeah, I just kind of wanted more from that bit. But, you know, maybe it's just me nitpicking, but, you know, an amazing week for Bosco. Bosco really proved that she is worthy of being in the finale. She's determined to be there, and, you know, she seems to be picking up steam again. So, you know, great week for Bosco. From Bosco to Daya Betty. Now, Daya Betty ended up in the bottom three. She was one of the three that had to lip sync, and I will say one thing I really appreciated this week is Daya did not become Bitter Betty. She did not blame anyone else. She did not focus on, oh, well, you should be in the bottom because, or you should go home because of the fact that you've lip synced so many times, which I thought was going to happen because Jorgeous was still there. So I was really pleased to see that happen. I must admit, for me personally, if they didn't, for me personally, I would have put Daya as safe, but that would have been if we were just doing a bottom two. I agree she was bottom three material, but, you know, had it been a normal circumstance where they didn't want three people to lip sync because they were sending two home, for me, Daya would have been safe this episode. She had some funny moments. The problem with Daya was very much a similar problem to what Lawrence Chaney had back in UK season 2, where there were funny moments. It just took a long time to get there, which was a shame because, yeah, I did enjoy her roast. It just needed to be more jokes, and in a quicker, she needed to essentially do sort of what Bosco did, which was joke, rather than kind of like set up, joke, which is how it came across, and that's why I believe she ended up in the bottom three. But, you know, for me, I definitely think she won the lip sync. As I said, I would have put her safe anyway. Come to the lip sync, I sat and went, she's got the exact right amount of energy for this song. Yeah, the other two, which I'll get to shortly, both had different levels of energy to what Daya had. Daya's was the exact right energy for the song, and so I'm pleased to see her stay for another week. As I said, you know, I don't think it was her time to go, so yeah, I just hope she keeps on with this. Her runway look, before I forget, I actually quite appreciated. So she kind of had like heels on that kind of were like, it's supposed to be like ballet shoes, so she had like the ribbon going up her leg, and, you know, I really appreciated like the jacket in that. I loved the hair. My one critique was the lip. I wasn't a big fan of the lip she had done, because she likes to do that sort of like small lip, and I think with the rest of this makeup and the rest of the look, I would have liked maybe a wider lip. But, you know, apart from that, I thought it was quite a good week for Daya. A small trip in the challenge, but honestly, nothing she can't come back from, and I'm just really glad that we didn't see her become Bitter Betty again this week, because given previous weeks, it was very much something that she could have gone into because she's done it before, but it was just nice to see that not happen this week. So from Daya, we go straight into one of the other girls that was in the bottom. I just realised the next three queens were all the bottom. Well, the next two queens after Daya were the other two in the bottom. So we've got Deja, who was one of our bottom queens and was one of the queens that did get eliminated, unfortunately. Now, I agree that Deja should have gone home. I agree that Deja should have been in the bottom. I am, however, still very sad to see Deja go, because I did really enjoy seeing Deja in this series. I thought she just came across as such a fun-loving person. She just seemed so lovely. Deja is just joyful, is pretty much how I would sum her up. In this challenge, again, it's a problem with jokes. She says she doesn't class herself as a really funny person. She struggled in the walkthrough because, Michelle and that just weren't understanding. Like, they were like, it's just not funny. And then I think one of the other problems is then she came to the challenge, and again, she kind of did the same jokes that she had done in the walkthrough that she had been told weren't funny. And, it just became a bit of a mess. Deja did still have a couple of funny jokes. She had one about essentially Michelle sleeping around, things like that. That was funny. She had a funny joke about going to the next person. So she had a couple of funny moments. Just, again, there was just not enough of them. Too many of the jokes didn't land. And, I mean, her runway look, I thought her runway look was cute. I loved the pink hair and the blue dress, really complemented each other colour palette wise. My biggest problem, as Michelle pointed out, it just didn't quite look like it fitted properly around like the bust area. So yeah, and it was also probably one of the most simple ones out of the outfits on the runway. So yeah, it's just a shame to see Deja go. For me, in the lip sync, her lip sync was the lower energy out of the three. So yeah, hopefully we will see Deja come back at some point in the future for an All-Stars, maybe. When she feels she's ready, and if they call her. So I would love to see her back at some point, hopefully having more confidence in herself, maybe some better outfits, and I'm sure she'd do a great job. So from Deja, we go to Jorgeous, who was our third bottom queen and also our second eliminated queen for the episode. Yes, the lip sync assassin has finally been chopped. So again, Jorgeous, props to her. She was really nervous going into this challenge because, she struggles a lot with the speaking challenges. She didn't do a terrible job. Again, it wasn't really awkward to watch. There were a couple of funny moments. It's just there weren't enough of them. And yeah, it was a bit awkward at times. But overall, not the worst roast performance we've ever had on Drag Race. So, props to her for at least getting a couple of funny jokes in. She did the thing even though she was really nervous. And she was like, I'm not good at speaking, I'm not going to do well. She did her best. It's just going to be one of those things where, hopefully in future, if she does come back for an All-Stars or something like that in future, she's gone through those issues and she's got more confidence in her speaking ability and things like that. Runway look wasn't my favourite. She had like this blue, almost like feathery dress. But then she had like black boots, like black leather jacket and a black leather hat. And for me, I was just like, this looks like two separate looks. Personal opinion, I'm sure there are lots of people that are like, no, this looks really good. This is really, it all works together. For me personally, it didn't work. Just my taste level, I'm guessing. But, I think separately they would have been great. They all looked good on her, just not combined. So, yeah. For me, in the lip sync, Jorgeous was too high energy. So the song itself kind of felt like almost like a pop punk song, but Jorgeous went at it sort of like just as a pop song and did her sort of normal Jorgeous energy to it. Deja was just a bit too low energy, whereas Daya, for me, perfect amount of energy, wasn't too much, wasn't too little, right in the middle, which is what led to me sitting there watching it going, I'd be shocked if Daya went. So, yeah, again, unfortunately, we have had to say goodbye to Jorgeous. Hopefully, she will come back in a few... Hey, she's so good at lip-syncing. They could even just bring her back in a future All-Stars to be a lip-sync assassin. you know, I'd be more than happy to see her come back and do that. I think she'd do a great job if she's given the right song. So, yeah, great. So from Jorgeous we go to Lady Camden. Now, Lady Camden was the other one that could have won. Maybe if she'd listened a bit more in the walkthrough. So, Lady Camden, lots of funny jokes, but then there was this one joke that they had said about not doing, or they'd said about essentially kind of like changing it just a bit. And it was about Lady Camden talking to Ross Mathews' butt. Now, that wasn't the problem. It was just a bit of a long joke. But not only did she still do that joke, but then she added 2 more sections onto that joke, which already was a bit kind of like, I mean, it was giggle worthy, but it wasn't like hilarity. Whereas the rest of her set was really good, really funny. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I wouldn't have been mad if they had given Lady Camden the win. But personally, I think with that little bit that just kind of fell a bit flat, Bosco for me was definitely the clear winner of this episode. Lady Camden's Runway Look. Now, we all know Lady Camden does ballet. And I was sat there and I was like, oh, she's just going to kind of go ballet, and that's going to be it. Now, she came out, it was sort of a ballet outfit, but she wasn't wearing ballet shoes. She did have, like, heels on. And honestly, I thought it all worked really well. You know, she had a nice sort of like updo. She had, oh God, what's the word? They used it in the episode, and now I've come, applique. She had like appliques like up her arms, down her legs, you know, all over. And it just looked gorgeous. Like, I absolutely adored this look. I thought it was just... It was perfect for the category. It just looked perfect on Camden as well. Like, she looked like this was meant for her. It wasn't like the look was wearing her. Yeah, all in all, again, another great night for Camden. You know, she is showing that she is a really strong competitor. Just needs to listen a little bit. Just a little bit more. Just to when people tell her things. And, you know, actually go with what they're saying. Because they're not always trying to... Well, I mean, especially in this, they're trying to help you, because it's like, you know, when the judges give you critiques and stuff like that, it's like they're doing it to kind of go, okay, this isn't working, do it this way, it will be better. But yeah, another strong week for Camden, and let's move on. So finally, last but not least, is Willow Pill. Now, Willow Pill, again, did a really good job in my opinion. For me, this week, the top 3 were Bosco, Camden, and Willow. Willow, again, being in the top, but not quite getting the win. So, Willow, again, really funny moments, pretty much start to finish. Did a really good job. Her runway look, I really loved. It was like this sort of like more mature woman going to the theatre because she had the glasses and that obviously really cares about her looks and wants to stay young because she's got all this plastic surgery. And one of my favourite things in this episode was when she was trying to speak in her runway look, because she had these massive lips and she couldn't speak properly. It was so funny. Literally, if you don't watch Untucked, you should watch this one just to see Willow. She gets a message from her family and she starts crying, but then at one point she's laughing and crying at the same time, but she's laughing because of the fact that she's got these big lips and like she's crying but like her face isn't moving. It was really funny. Yeah, definitely watch Untucked. If no other episode than this one, just because it was quite amusing to watch Willow in. But yeah, another great week for Willow, as expected really. Yeah. So going on to the next episode, we now have our top 5. We've chopped 2 girls, so we've gone from 7 to 5. We've got the music video next week, so the music video for Catwalk. And then I believe, because that's going to be episode 14, I believe. And then the week after that will probably be the reunion. And then the week after that will be the finale. So someone's going to go next week, in theory, you know, unless they decide they're going to have a top 5 this year. Would be a bit weird with the lip syncing for the crown though, wouldn't it? Because what, are you going to do a 3-way lip sync and a 2-way lip sync and then another 2-way lip sync and a finale? You know what I mean? It just doesn't work as well as sort of like having a top 4, because then you just have 3 separate lip syncs. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I am excited for next week. See what happens. Don't know who's going to make it through. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's kind of anyone's game to make the finale. So we'll just have to tune in next week, see what happens. Let me know down below. As I said, has your top 4 changed? Do you have a new top 4? Is that because one of your top 4 originally got eliminated? Is it because just how this episode went, you've changed your mind on someone? While you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I will see you lovely people next week when we talk about the episode. See ya!